Okay, it is 11 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. My name is Kate Petty. I am part of the training and support team here at Hawk. So thank you for joining me today for advanced web test settings. We're going to just briefly cover in about 20 minutes or less, just basic web test settings when you are creating and assigning a test. We're going to cover some basics just for the test. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so I am starting out at the Instructor Dashboard here, and I'm going to navigate from assignments to web tests. And please keep in mind, again, the settings we'll be covering are only applicable when a web test is assigned to one of your sections. So as my assignments are pulling up here, you'll see a list of my web tests. And I am an instructor in the section for college algebra, my sample section. So you are going to see just my tests. Course admins can see the tests for all the instructors within the grade book. So as these are loading, it just takes just another moment. Just try one more time. There we go. So you can tell when a test is assigned by seeing this paperclip icon. So we're only going to be talking about an assigned test. So let me just show you how to assign. We'll go ahead and select the first test that I've created. I created it by clicking Create New, but so Chapter 1 review is going to be the first test I'm assigning. And first I'm going to navigate to the general settings. Now, these are the most important settings for your web test. This is where you're going to select your start and end dates and times. And the start date and time is when they can first click on and begin answering questions. And the end date and time is when they can no longer access the test. So let's say they have until 11:55. And you can also decide the test length. The default is 1 hour, but you can decide if there's no time limit. You can give as many attempts as you want, unlimited, or if let's say you wanted to give 3, and they can you can choose to score the average, the best, the last, the first score, and then you can choose which assignment group it should go into. So I'm going to put this into my test group. You can choose if a test should be a bonus test. And you can also choose when it is visible to your students. So if you don't want to put it on there until closer to the test date, you can uncheck this until closer. This is all found under the general settings. I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. And when you are going back, so then if we were to go back to assignments and web tests, and back to this Chapter 1 review, we're going to go ahead and assign it to my section for spring. And we'll click assign. So to get that paperclip icon on there and to get it assigned, you select the test, you select assign, and you select the section, and then you confirm by selecting assign. And this is also how you unassign at the bottom as well. So within these tests, once they're assigned, they are not editable as far as questions. You need to unassign them to make any of those changes. But the important settings that you're going to see are either going to be these general settings, which are where you assign just the basic test parameters for when it opens and closes. Student settings by test. This is a setting for if a student misses an exam date, if they're sick on that day and need to do a retake, you can just search for the student's name and then you can input their different settings that they're going to have different from the student. So you would just input that student's name there, and then you would be able to find that student and change the due date of their test or any other, if they need special accommodations for time or any other exceptions to increase test length, attempts, or if you wanted to offer a retake, you would just go into your web test, the specific test, and then go to student settings by test. Below student settings by test, you'll find prerequisites, and which this allows you to make any lesson or web test a prerequisite. So you can even set a minimum pass rate for any web test that you designate as a prereq. And this setting helps ensure students are working through all the required course materials and mastering content on pre-topic level so that they're adequately prepared for your test. So once we go down to additional settings, now this is going to allow for further customizations. This shows when you can release the grades to students, when they can review their test. You can allow credit for unsimplified answers. For instance, if they enter 4/8 instead of 1/2, you can give partial credit if you decide to give credit for that. This is where you can decide to use the Respond as Lockdown browser if you did want to use proctoring for your test. You can enable this requirement for any Hawks test to further secure the testing environment such that no other applications or websites can be accessed while testing. And this also restricts students from the ability to capture, print, or right-click from their mouse. And we recommend that you share our download directions with your students prior to test time so that they can download the program to their computer in advance, or if your students are testing in a lab, your school IT department can install the lab version for you. You can make the test pass or fail and designate the passing grade. And you can also make this a diagnostic testing option. This is a great setting to use if you're interested in creating pre-tests. This allows you to denote a particular level of proficiency. And as you can see, by defaults, the diagnostic test rate, it's normally going to be a 80%, but this can be adjusted. And for any lessons on the test where a student scores at or above this level of proficiency, the student automatically is given credit. So they will master that lesson and be able to focus more of their attention on concepts and things to learn that they really need to work on for themselves. This option seamlessly creates the customized learning path, and each student has the opportunity to accelerate faster through the course content, depending on their foundational level of understanding. The Manage IP template and security, in addition to, let's go ahead and save changes. In addition to password protection and Respond as Lockdown browser, you can provide further security for your test by utilizing our IP address restriction setting. And this here you can enter an IP address range for a set of computers so that students can only access the web test from the computer lab, for instance. And you can also copy settings for an exam, from one exam to another, making it easier to set up and to have all of your formats the same from section to section. So once your test is assigned and once you are able to assign it and set up the settings that you want, you're always welcome to reach out to your support rep at Hawks to make sure everything looks correctly until you're comfortable using, or if you did have any questions about the features or for a specific student, if they have special accommodations. But if there's anything we can do to assist you, please feel to reach out to your dedicated training and support rep, or you can just reach out to Hawks 800-426-9538 and speak with someone over the phone. We are here to help you and are here to support you for a very successful start of your season. Are there any questions in the Q&A? Or did we have any questions at this time? Well, thank you so much, everyone who joined me today, and we are more than happy to help answer any other questions you might have, but I hope this was helpful in learning more about advanced web test settings